Okay, so Shalom Aleichem, everyone. So it's very good to be back. Siblat Hashem. Today we're going to speak about Noach. So this is Parashat Noach. And first of all, we have to speak a little bit who was Noach, what did he accomplish, at least some of the things he accomplished. And then we're going to speak a little bit about Avraham and the difference between Noach and Avraham, and how they impacted the world as we know it today. So first of all, Noach, he was born in the 10 generations after Adam Arishon. So there was Adam Arishon. Then they did the sin with Chava. They ate from the forbidden fruit, and then Adam Arishon was kicked out of the Gan Eden, right? And actually, you have to know that the Gan Eden was in this world. It was in this physical world. It was Gan Eden was around where Israel, where Iraq is, and that's exactly the place where Adam and Chava were. But then, since they sinned, then in turn they couldn't be that place because there were different curses that each one got. And after 10 generations, there was Noah. And during those 10 generations, the people were acting very wicked against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And with the time, people changed their ways. And it says in the Midrash that the people used to do all types of abomination, all types of crimes against each other. And the main reason why Hashem decided to destroy the world was because of Hamas. What's Hamas? So there's different. You have to ask the Ben Porat Yosef. My father has 10 different explanations, but one of them is violence is theft. Theft. What is theft? They used to steal, and it's very important. They used to go to a market and they used to go take grapes, but they didn't take the whole grapes. They took one grape. And everyone knew that if you only take one grape, no one can bring you to Bed Din, no one can bring you to court. You only took one grape. Right? It's like you go to the ice cream shop. You ask, can I have a sample? You go to Shikha, can I have a sample? After 100 people, they take samples. You lost 100 scoops. So what happened was that people were very tricky, and that's what they use as a trick to go and steal from people. So they take one, and then at some point there was no more laws. Anyone could steal, take whatever. You want something, you go get it. There's actually a midrash, and there's not a midrash, but there's a mashal that's brought in the Ben Porat Yosef, right? And my father brings that there was once a bird that went and ate and went to eat a fish, and then when it was about to eat the fish was saying, "Hey, you can't eat me. I'm a creature of Hashem, right? I'm a little fish. What did I do?" While he's talking, he spits out another fish. So then the bird told the fish that, "You hypocrite! You were mad that I'm going to eat you, but your own brother you eat. So if you don't have pity on your own brother, how do you want me to have pity on you?" And that's a little bit why when we see there's going to be two generations. There's going to be the generations of the flood, right? And there's going to be the generation Dor HaFlaga. This is generation where Hashem separated all the
Tower of Babel.
Yeah, because they did the tower against Hashem. What did they do? They decided to make a monument, but they all got together at Achdut. So they were all friends together, to go against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they made a tower to go. Oh, we're gonna fight. We don't want to have another flood coming here. We're gonna go and invest money. Exactly, that's what they thought. So at the end, they got a punishment, but Hashem did not wipe them out. The question is why? Here they're trying to go directly against Hashem, and here they're stealing against each other. So what's the problem? So the difference is exactly this mashal. What's an imshal is that when you don't have pity on your own brothers, or you don't treat another human being like a mensch, like a human being, you treat him like a dog. So then, for sure, there's no way that Hashem will have any mercy on you. How can you have mercy on you? If you're a criminal to your own parents, how do you want Hashem to look at you? Oh, my son, look, I'm going to take care of you. No, like we said many times, and that's always this idea. Like we say of Yom Kippur, and we say when we have to, the way we have to deal and do business with people, we have to treat people, is that we always have to be on the letting go side, always making things, for peace, always trying the way to make it good, because the same way we're going to act with people, this is how it's going to be a reflection on how Hashem will be acting towards us. So now to go back with Noach. Noach was commanded by Hashem. It says, "V'Noach matzachen b'nei Hashem." So the whole generation, they were all Rishaim, all going against Hashem, all thieves, everything you can think of. But Noach, he was a tzaddik. That's why it says in the Torah, it says in the verse in the parasha, that tzaddik haya b'dorotav, that Noach was a tzaddik in his generation. And Rashi brings that there's some opinions that he says some opinions hold that he was really a tzaddik, meaning that he was a tzaddik, and then some hold that, and some rabbis also hold that it was only a tzaddik in his generation. Because let's say everyone is a bunch of reshaim. Everyone, let's say they do, I don't know, they have one. Let's say they do a test. They have 10 on 100. So he has 20 on 100. So he's better. But if you compare him to another generation, he wouldn't be. But in reality, that's not the way you have to look. Whenever you have two options of judging, when you have two options of getting a commentary from the Torah or seeing something, you have one positive, one negative. You have to go through the positive one. So Noach was a tzaddik, and why was he a tzaddik? Because he went and he listened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it says for 120 years was building the ark. Now the question: why did he have to build 120 years the ark? Right? What's the big deal? Do it in 6 months. That's it. Anyways, it was a miracle. Like because it says that he brought animals from all the types of animals. He brought them in the ark. So of course, it's not because he makes a huge ark. Even if you make the biggest ark, I don't know. Even if you make a huge ark, you can't fit all the animals there. So it doesn't make sense. So make even a small ark. Anyways, Hashem is going to make a miracle. So the reality is Hashem wanted Noach to spend 120 years to be able to wake up other people, to tell them, look, guys, it's happening. And they all look at Noach, look at this guy, what is he doing? Imagine today someone's telling you, Mashiach will come, Gog Magog, you see him building something. So everyone thought he was, he's a little bit crazy. But Noach, for 120 years, he was warning people. He said, they told him, why are you wasting your time? He said, I'm not wasting my time. Hashem will send a mabul. He will go and wipe out the whole world. And it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu regretted creating the world because he saw how evil the man can become. And the story goes on is that actually then Noach went with Shem, Ham, and Yafet. He had 3 sons. He went and said the teva with the animals and their wives, and no one listened to Noach, and everyone died. And Hashem wiped out the whole world. And it says that from Noach the whole world came, and that's why it says that the Jews, we say, for example, we come from Shem, right? There was Shem, Ham, and Yafet. So we come from Shem, and that's where it comes anti-Semitism, right? The word anti-Semite, we are Semites, right? Semites because we come from Shem, right? And anti-Shemiyut, right? Shem. So we come from Shem. And now it says that Noach, when he went out of the teva, he went and he planted he planted some grapes, and he went and he drank wine. And then there it calls him Isha Adama. It calls him a man of the fields. So we see before he was Ish Tzaddik, now a man of the fields. So it says that a person, when a person can change, can go from an Ish Tzaddik to be a man of the fields if he's not careful of the things that he does. But of course, there's also other interpretation that really he was the man of the field. He was working the field and things like that. But at the end, we see that Noach, he went and he brought to us the Sheva Mitzvot B'nei Noach. Right. So from the time of Noach, there was 7 mitzvot that Hashem commanded to Noach. Right before there were 6, but now there was 7, and those mitzvot are actually called after Noach. Sheva Mitzvot B'nei Noach. And those 7 of them, and that's very important to know these ones, because we have to know that the Torah and the Jewish religion and Hashem, right? Because the Torah is really the world was created for everybody, right? So we the Jewish people have a central role in the world. We have to be light unto the nations. At the same time, the Goyim, they have a place, right? And the Rambam is posek la'alacha, brings us halacha that a Goy that is righteous not only will be here when Mashiach comes, but he has a place in the world to come. He has a place after he dies. He goes to that special place. So it's not he's a Goy, or he's this or he's that, or and then Chazasham the opposite. You can have a Jew, you can have a Goy that he's at the highest place. He's in one of the highest place in Shamayim, right? For the Goyim. And you can have a Jew, Chazasham, he's in the lowest place. So it could be that you can have, and that's also in terms of intermarriage. It has nothing to do with racism or things like that. You can have the most righteous Goy, right, like Eov, and you can have the biggest lefty. I don't know, the Rasha, big Rasha. I don't know.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders. You have a Bernie Sanders that wants to stop giving any arms to Israel. He married a Goya. The only thing he has about Judaism is the Holocaust, right? That's my grandparents were in the Holocaust, so that gives you the right to be a big criminal. So now you have this guy on the other side. So you have Eob and the righteous Goyim. They have a big place in Olam Haba. Then you have all those Rishaim. They're not Olam Haba. They're going to get wiped out. So what do we see from there? We see that the reason why you can't intermarry, why can't you intermarry? You do, So it could be. It's not because the Jews are going to be necessarily more righteous. It's because the Baruch Hu said that to have a nation, you need to stay together. You cannot intermarry. Once you intermarry, it's like now you had 70 nations. All the nations are together. No one knows who's who, right? So that's one thing. But then to go back to our point on Noach and the Shiva Mitzvot bin Noach. So there's 7 laws. And now the Goyim, they have to know those laws and they have to keep them. And Hashem is very interested that they do them. And Hashem cares that they do them. And the Rambam actually brings that it's a mitzvah to go and teach the Goyim about that. Now, you're going to ask me, even some Chabad, you have Chabad, they go and they have posters. Even if you have, by in Kudanej, you see there's a truck written in blue with the picture of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. They also had in a wall, on Kent, they had a huge wall with the Lubavitcher Rebbe with the 7 mitzvot, and sometimes they make posters. But there's a mitzvah to go and teach those laws. Now you don't see it as much, probably because before you take care of other people, you have to take care of your own, right? So we have our own, families, we have our own communities that need help for kiruv, to help them do teshuvah. So the people in your household, they come first. So that's number one. So the 7 laws were very quickly. I already spoke about this. So for the goyim, they have to believe in one God. They cannot curse, right? The name of so like we say, they cannot bless the name of Hashem. That's the opposite. Like we said in the Gemara, when we want to say something bad, we don't say it directly. For example, it says when the enemies of Israel will get attacked, right? But in the Gemara, it doesn't mean the enemies; it means Israel. But in the Gemara, it changes the word because always to speak positively. It's actually interesting in this, even in the parasha, we see why did the Torah says take the animals that are not uh, 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 take the animals that are not pure. The Torah goes and uses more words to tell you to take the animals that are not pure. Why don't you just tell me to take the animals that are impure, right? So we were adding more words. So just the fact that we have to be careful with the way that we speak, and we have to always speak in a positive way. So we said the cursing. The third thing is not to have illegal or to have abominable relations, right? So anything in homosexuality, adultery, all the things, the bestiality, all those things that are against the human nature of the world. That a man gets married with a woman, they procreate, they have kids. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to establish a court system, court of laws. Number 5 is not to steal. Number 6, not to kill. And number 7 is not to eat from an animal while it's alive. So to make sure not to eat from that. So those are 7 laws and that the women have to keep, and they also have to keep all the other logical laws, right? So you cannot do those 7 laws and then be anti-Semites. They can't do the 7 laws and then beat up their parents. Oh, I didn't kill him; I just beat him now, right? So there's also other things that come also with those laws. It's not just that, but these are the general laws. And then, so this was for Noach. Now we're going to speak a little bit about Avraham Avinu and how the two compare, because we have to know that Hashem could have gave the Torah to Noach or gave the Torah to Hashem. Right? Hashem also was a big tzaddik, was a yeshiva Hashem va'ever. That's where Yaakov went to learn. So we see that why didn't Hashem start the Jewish people with Noach or with Shem, right? So we have to understand that Avraham, the difference between Avraham and Noach is that Noach went and he took care of his family. He did inform people, but he wasn't doing it in an active way. However, Avraham, not only did he
made it his mission.
Not only did he change himself, but he made it his mission to go and teach people about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Teach HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one, that the whole world is created by Hashem, that Hashem runs the whole world, and He's the one in charge of everything. And when we need money, we need anything, we have to rely on him, and we have to depend on him. We have to ask for him. We not go and ask this water bottle. You understand? So he was teaching people and he was helping people. And it says that Abraham went and he created, he was able to make tens of thousands of people that were pagans, where they were doing avodah zarah. He was able to make them religious, meaning that they kept the 7 laws of Noah, right? So that's something very important that he did. Then the other reason why Hashem went and he picked Abraham from everybody, that Abraham, and also Abraham also himself, because he chose to get to this level, because he understood, and he was a very smart man that was able to deduce things. He was saying, how is the world, how is the world turning by itself? How is it that everything has an order? He was looking in nature, that everything, there's seasons, and the seasons are dependent on each other. And if you don't have the winter, then you cannot have a good summer, because the earth and the trees will not be able to grow properly, that the earth needs to rest. So he had a lot of things going on in his head to realize that it can't be that there are two forces, right? Because if there's two forces, let's say, as Hashem, there would be two gods. It would make it that nothing can be created, because it will be a constant fight. Oh, I want this bottle to be blue. No, but I want it to be red. And then this is going to be purple. But it doesn't. It doesn't work. But Abraham, what did he do? What did Hashem says? Why did Hashem say that I love Abraham? Because Abraham went and he taught his kids. So Yitzchak was a big tzaddik, and then he taught him how to do Torah mitzvot, and he taught him everything how to be a righteous man. And then he went to Yaakov. So then you had 3 generations, and once you had 3 generations of tzaddikim, then we had the 12 tribes, because it cannot be that because let's say from Yitzchak the 12 tribes couldn't start, because you would have to the grandfather of Yitzchak was an idol worshiper, was Terach, right? The father of Abraham was an idol worshiper, but then from Yaakov, even his grandfather was a tzaddik. So then from him, the nation of Israel can come forth. And then something else that we learn about Abraham is that Abraham was also 10 generations after Noach, right? So from Noach until Abraham, there was also a lack of. Everyone went back to do avodah zarah. Everything went back to that. Like we're learning with Yosef about this idea is that at the beginning, people did not just do idol worship. They knew about Hashem, right? Because Adam was created by Hashem. Hashem spoke with Adam. And therefore, the whole world knew there was Hashem. And then his kids knew, and then his grandkids knew. But then at some point, like we learned, is that the people saw the sun and the moon, and they saw they were something important. So they're like, if Hashem gave them so much kavod that they're here every day, and that they're so big and important, and that we need them, right? The sun, you need it to grow plants and trees. So they said, so if Hashem honors them, then might as well. Then for us, it's also fitting for us to honor them or to respect them. Or maybe instead of us going directly to Hashem, we have to go through the sun, or we have to go through the moon, or we have to go through. Exactly. So also that's also another thing that we have to be careful, that not to ever say, oh, we're relying on a certain rabbi, or we're relying on a certain that this is. We can pray in the merit or in the schut of a rabbi, of a tzaddik, and the schut of this rabbi that went and he, for example, Baba Saleh, he fasted for years, and he prayed for Am Yisrael, and there's so many different things. He was learning, was big Talmid Chacham. So in his schut, there was so kadosh that we should be helped. But we can never say, oh, the tzaddik is going to pray for me, or the tzaddik will do this for me, or thanks to the tzaddik, I got I don't know, thanks to the tzaddik, I bought my house. It's a very fine line. So people have to be careful, Unless you see people, they're not careful, even when, let's say, they're going to go to the OL, right? When they write, let's say, a letter, they cannot write, dear Rabbi, give me this and this and that, right? It's not, this will fall inside the idea of, it will fall inside the idea of Avodah Zarah. It's not, because you have to know that there's no one has any powers. But now, no one has any powers except Hashem. Now, why is it important when you want to go to a tzaddik? Right now, here I'm talking, if you go to a tzaddik, that's let's say alive, right? You go to a rabbi for a bracha, or if you go to a kever, then there's a kedusha that's there, and then there's a higher kedusha. You can pray, and you can ask the tzaddik that's there to intercede for you. Please, you can say, please pray for me, please. But it's never that he has a power to help you get to something. That's very important to understand. Even when you go to a rabbi and you ask him, give me a bracha, a person can never think, oh, thanks to this bracha, I had a baby. No. Why is it important to go to the chacham or to a rab, let's say when you need a bracha? It's because when the person is, what do you want? He's not so the biggest tzaddik, let's say. He does averot here and there. He barely learns Torah. Maybe he's also a lefty. So all those things together make it that okay. So when he's going to pray, his prayer is going to be on hold. Okay, we have time. But now when he's going to see a tzaddik, the Talmid Chacham, now the Talmid Chacham is like a prince, right? A tzaddik, because he's very close to Hashem. He follows the whole Torah. He keeps all the halachot like he has to keep. He helps other people. He prays to Hashem with kavanot. So he's very close. So now, if let's say you need something from the king, and the person now he's a regular guy, but then you have the prince that's there, so you go through the prince. But at the same time, even if that's true, that it says that if tzaddik gozer v'akadosh baruch hu mekayem, that a tzaddik it can make a gzera. You can say this is what's going to happen, or he blesses someone and said this is what's going to happen to you. Then Hashem, because the tzaddik said that, Hashem will do it in honor of the tzaddik. And where do we see this? We see this with Avraham Avinu. That Lot, he was a Rasha. Why do we say that Lot is a Rasha? Because he went to live with Sodom. If a person goes, he sees, he has a group of friends. They don't keep Shabbat, they don't eat kosher, marigoyot, they're nothing. And he stays, for him, there's no problem. Best friends, everything, he lives with them, goes out with them all the time, brings them for Shabbat. For him, there's no problem. I'm not saying like, let's say he's trying to help them to do tshuva or things like that, but just he lives by them. That's where he lives. He does Shabbat kasher, but he lives in a community where it's all reformed. So this person is a rasha. Doesn't matter what he does. Why? Because the fact that he goes to live amongst an environment that's of wicked people automatically makes him a rasha. And it's like Lot. Lot, he went to Sodom. Sodom, they were the biggest monsters. That's why Hashem wiped them out. There was a rule in Sodom, you're not allowed to have any guests. And if you have guests, they have to be raped by the people there. That's why the angels, that's crazy. Lot, and it says this is why one of the reasons why he merited that Mashiach comes from him. Because what happened with Lot, just very quickly, is that Lot, he received the guests, the angels, he received the guests over. And then they were all surrounding his house. The people of the town say, we heard you have guests. And then he said, no, I won't give you the guests. If you want, I'll give you my daughters. Bobo. But so he said, it's like, rape my daughters, but don't take my guests. And then he said, why? He said, I'll give you my daughters. So we learn from there that really that's what they wanted to do. You cannot have a guest. If you have a guest, we have to do crazy things there. Another thing we learn about the guests is brought that it said that they would give beds to people, and if the person was very tall, they would give him a very small bed. And they would cut the limbs because it would be enough fit. And if he was too tall, he was too small, too short for the bed, they would stretch him out. Those Rashaim. So Hashem wiped them out. And we have to understand, very important. Not everyone agrees with that. And a lot of rabbis actually say the opposite. They say that really Avraham fought for the Rashaim. He fought for the people of Sodom. But in reality, it's not so simple to say that. It seems like the opposite, that he fought. He said, Hashem, how can you punish the righteous with the wicked? How can you punish? So what if there's 10 good in each city? Yeah, so he wanted to defend, to save the tzaddikim. But now when you have murderers, you have reshaim, they kill people, they rape, the pedophiles, they do all kinds of crimes. And we have to be good with them. Don't worry, you don't understand. It's their childhood when they were young. Don't worry, don't send them to jail. You can't be. If you have pity on the reshaim, you become a rasha. There's no justice. Imagine now that you have to go to court. There's a guy, he went and he killed 10 people and he raped 10 women. Okay, you know what? They're already dead. And the woman, look, you already raped them. What can we do? So it's okay. You can go home. Where's the justice? Meaning that in reality, if you're kind with them, really you're cruel. But if you're not, if you're a good person, then you do the justice. Even if it means they have to get death penalty, like yesterday I was listening that Trump was saying, very interesting, because he was saying that if there's a illegal immigrant that goes and kills an American citizen, he gets death penalty. That's it. No games. This is very good. So according to the law, this is very good, because what is the biggest deterrence for people? Consequences, right? Someone's going to tell you, no, don't worry, don't teach about the consequences. Don't worry, Hashem. Hashem is doesn't care what you do. As long as you're a Jew, you're good. No, but we have to keep Torah and Mitzvot, and there's consequences. The same way when we drive over the limit, we're scared. Why don't we burn every stop? There's a red light, 3 a.m. You hear? There's no one. There's not one cat outside. Why don't you go through the red light? Huh? Why? Because you're tzaddik? No, because if now you know for sure, 100%. The police went on vacation. So you're like, what's the problem? Of course, you're not going to be just endangering people. You see, there's no one there, so you go. But the fact, even if you know there's not a fly outside, you're not going to go through. Why? Because the law is here, and not because of the law. I'm sorry, because you have a chance to get caught by the police, because you have a chance of a consequence. And the people, they work with consequences. What is going to be the consequence if I do this? What is going to be the consequence if I do that? What is the consequence if I go to the casino and burn my money? What is the consequence if I... And that's how they work. So even with the Torah, we cannot just reject it and say, in all our lives, there's consequences. In all our lives, we judge 24/7, we judge people. Many times we have to judge because, oh, do you want your son to go and play with this person? You see, he smokes grass all day. You want him to be, and then you see this guy goes to all kinds of clubs. You want your son to go clubbing with him? So now you're judging. No, don't go with him. Don't do that. But it's just when it comes to Torah, all of a sudden, oh, don't judge anybody. Everyone is perfect. Everyone is great. So that's why there's also. Now I'm not saying that you have to look at people like and treat them not nice and everything. But I'm saying that we also at least to have this in mind that there's a judge. Hashem is here. He's watching. Ayin Ruah, like we said, there's an eye that sees, ears that listens, and everything is written down, right? So we cannot escape from the justice. But however, there is tremendous mercy from Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu gives us chances, he gives us opportunities, he gives us shiurim, he gives us so many different things to help us to have righteous lives in this world, and B'ezrat Hashem to also have for Olam Haba. And then one more thing, just to finalize with Noach and Avraham, is that we have to learn from them. That the same way that Noach went against all odds, against everybody, right? Everyone was making fun of him. Everyone thought that he's crazy. They made him problems and everything. But I said no, because once you realize the truth, once you realize that there's Hashem and we have to act properly, then you went straight ahead. And the same thing with Avraham. So Avraham at 10 tests, he had to leave his family, was thrown into a fiery furnace. It was horrible. His father, imagine now, the guy's father is selling diamonds, and now the son is saying, no, only buy cubic, you don't need diamonds. It's a whole scam diamonds. He makes a whole book and publish it. But the father is selling diamonds. It's all panasa. The son says all the diamonds are a scam, or I give you live diamond. So he's running. How does it work? Imagine Abraham. He went against all odds, and he went and he saw the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So us in a way also. We all know some people. We have sometimes some friends, some family members. Sometimes they make fun. Sometimes they bully us. And you're the kashrut, you're this, you're a fanatic, you're a fanatic, you're this, you're that. And it's very important to be bold. Like it says, you have to be as kanamer, right? No, you have to be gibor kari. As kanamer, you have to be bold like a leopard. What does it mean bold? That you're not scared when they're gonna make fun of you. And they tell you, oh, why you care? Why you really think it makes a difference if you're dressed in old? You really think? Doesn't matter what you think. I didn't know you were the creator of the world. It matters what Hashem thinks. You understand? What Hashem thinks about me. What you think about me, good for you. What Hashem thinks about me, this is another issue. This is why we always have to look back in the Torah. What does Hashem want from us? It's all written. We cannot. I don't like when people go into those ideas. What's my mission in life? What's my this? Very simple. Follow the Torah. Be a good human being. Treat people with respect. But everything I'm telling you, respect. It's tzedakah, generosity, visiting the sick, being kind, the way you speak, giving, even insulting people. Onat dvarim isur from the Torah. There's verses. There's all. When a person hurts someone, there's five things he has to pay. He has to pay the nezek, harm that he did. He has to pay for the bullshit, for the embarrassment. He has to pay for the embarrassment. Where do we see this? Oh, you embarrassed him. You made a joke against him in front of everyone. Now you go to court. Okay, you have to pay. What do you mean I have to pay? What did I do? Then we have to see exactly what are the gdarim. But let's say, okay, let's say now, for example, the embarrassment would be, let's say now the let's say a practical case. So let's say now the guy had I don't know, he had a car and he didn't look behind who was walking. He moved back. Boom. He hurt the guy's leg. What happens? Now the guy, you don't beki, right? So now for weeks, he has to go everywhere with crutches. So all these weeks of embarrassment, he has to pay. He has to pay the damage. He has to pay the embarrassment. He has to pay the amount that he wasn't able to work. For 6 weeks he couldn't work. All those 6 weeks you have to pay. He has to pay for the ripui. He has to pay for all the medical bills, right? So all these things,
And
and
you have
there's
to pay also for the pain caused.
right. So the nizak we say, uh, uh,
No, like the pain. Like when someone is hurt, there's pain, so you have to pay for the pain. That's the fifth one, no?
so we said,
There's the damage of the body.
right, exactly. So the fifth one exactly is exactly
You
the
pay for
pain.
the pain.
So the pain that he had, and then because the nizak is the damage, right? So what you cause is the damage. So let's say now the actual, let's say, leg or the bone that's broken. But then the pain that the guy is suffering, you also have to pay for that. So we see that the Torah tells you exactly what when you do something, what are the consequences, how you have to pay for it. And also the other thing is that when you know that Hashem is watching, it's like, let's say it's like now, let's say today we were in the store, we had a bag of pasta, it fell on the floor, it opened. Now if there was no Torah, chas v'shalom, or like any regular, I won't say regular, I would say 90% of the people, thank you very much, take it, put it back on the counter. But Baruch Hashem, we're decent people. We have to follow the Torah. The Torah says you break it, you pay it. There's no other way around. And the beautiful thing is that Hashem is watching you. That there's no way that you can scam it to do anything. Exactly. So that's very important. So now just a few things to recap what we learned today. So we were learning about Noach and Avraham, that the two were big tzaddikim in the generations. That from Noach we have the 7 laws of Noach. It's called after him. That applies for all the goyim, for all the non-Jews. They're obligated to follow them, and they have a place in the world to come, and they have a place in the times of Mashiach. So they should really follow them. And then you have, and there's also, even in Israel, there was a thing called Ger Toshav, that a goy that it goes to the Beit Din and he accepts those 7 laws. He has almost full rights in Israel, and he can live there and be good, and he's a righteous goy. This is called Ager Toshav. And then one more thing, and then one other thing that we learned is that with Avraham Avinu, since he went and he went to people, he told them to do teshuvah, to follow Nakadosh Baruch Hu, and he wasn't only concerned about himself or his family, but he went himself to greet people, and he had an inn, right? And there were 4 doors. That's what we do in the chuppah, right? That we wanted to be like Avraham Avinu, that there's 4 openings to go to his house. There's 4 doors. Any direction you walk, you're able to get it, right? So that was the idea. And since he did that, and not only that, he taught his kids. So that's why we thought Hashem, when you're going to have kids, you're going to be able to teach them the right way, the Torah. And when you do this, you're accomplishing mitzvah from the Torah, that you teach your children. And this is why Hashem went and you picked Abraham. And then one of the other last thing that we learned is that also that we should not be scared. We follow the Torah. We have to be bold. We cannot be scared. We have to think, what does Hashem think of me? Not what your friend from high school thinks of you. This is very important.